Hey everyone, Steven here. Today we're going to talk about feeding and what I feed my fishes. Well, before we start talking about feeding, we actually have a new tank mate. There is my new Achilles tank, and the powder blue tank and Achilles tank been going at it since its introduction yesterday. Luckily, the Achilles tank is a little bit larger, actually quite a bit larger than the powder blue. So even though the powder blue is playing the host, it can only bully the Achilles so much. And the Samari tank is still hanging there. It's actually eating well despite being bullied by Tomini tank, who is an absolute a-hole right now. And the Antheas, the purple queen Antheas that I've gotten a week ago, are all doing well, eating well, and they don't seem to be losing weight, so that's a good sign. And they are one of the more difficult fish to keep because of their diet, and that is why I put the video together today to talk about it. So what do I feed them? And right here is actually, it's probably not the best lighting to see, but it looks like a mush of a junk. And when I was trying to think, what do I actually feed them, I actually come up with a long list of things that I do feed them. So let me just grab my list. Here's a list of things that I feed them with. So while you guys watch the fish interact, let me just read out really quick. First of all, I feed them a bunch of frozen food and very varied. The main part of that frozen food is the PE mysis shrimp. And then I also go to grocery store. I get a bunch of clams, oysters, squid, fresh uncooked shrimp, and also some frozen silverside. I thaw them all, cut them up, and then chop them up in the food processor. And and then I add garlic extract, and add some nori, and I smush it up, and then I will freeze them in like Ziploc bags into slabs. And then when I thaw them, I will thaw them along with a cube of calanus, a cube of cyclopes, and a cube or two of the spirulina enriched brine shrimp, and I thaw them all together, and that's the cup of mush that you saw a little bit earlier. Throughout the day though, I also douse like TDO Chroma Boost, a few different sizes, just mixed sizes, large to small, since I have a few different sizes of fish here. And then I also dose New Life Spectrum, again, a varied type. I have some vegetarian ones, I have some color enhancing ones, I have some for smaller fish and some for larger fish. So I mix them all and I just toss them in there. And then in between, I also feed them PE mysis flakes. So I crush up the flake, and then I actually add a small scoop of the freeze-dried cyclopes. I soak it in water for about half an hour and I feed, and that is really for the Antheas. So anytime you hear any kind of cyclopes, pods, calanus, that's all for the Antheas. And in between, I would also hang a sheet of nori, or sometimes just some kale leaves. And then lastly but not least, what I also would do is in this tank I have a bunch of pods just crawling all over the wall here. So is this. You can almost see them. So what I do is I actually siphon them, and I take a little net and I net them out as I pour the water back in, and then I toss the I almost say bugs, but they are bugs. They're like a water bug. The pods in here, and the Antheas would eat them, happily eat them. So without further ado, I am going to give you guys a feeding show, and let me just secure my camera in a second here. feeding show, and hopefully, you know, you will get to put together your own version of the varied diet, and do the best to keep all your fish happy. And you know, a lot of this stuff is pretty much you can get most of the mix from either just a regular seafood market or grocery store, and with some of the specialty items like the mysis, calanus, and also the cyclopes, you will have to go to an aquarium store or somewhere online to get them, but they're not as difficult as you imagine it is. Just give them the best food that you can give them, and they will look beautiful, and they will look happy, and they will entertain you for a long time. So really important, rule number one is give them as varied of a diet as you can. Just don't stick to just one thing, because they will need a varied nutrition from a wide range of food. So that's why I always have, like as you heard earlier, I always mix up all this different food. And as you can see, all my fish look very plump and very happy, well fed. So thank you for joining me today, and feel free to comment, leave me any questions if you have any, and I look forward to see you again.